Hello there, out there, inquiring minds all around the world and all the ships at sea. My name is Doug, and welcome to another Inquiring Minds live stream. No, it's not July 1st. I just changed June to July on my title without looking at the date. No, it's July 6th, Saturday. And we already have a number of people here. Thank you all for coming. We've got, Pam was the first one in. Pam Tuggle, good afternoon. Hello there. And then Russ, of course. Russ is always in first. And ODE from Lisbon. Always nice to have you, sir. Thank you for joining me. Copperplate from Germany. And there's Bill, confused by the date. Don't be confused, Bill. It's July 6th. You're not in a time warp. And Ted from Seattle. Hey, Ted, how are things in the coffee capital of the world? Mike Evans, hey there, good to see you. And you're finally at the beginning of a live stream. Great. Well, you get to see my wonderful introduction and stumble over my words. Hopefully, you can hear my voice. Say yes if you can hear my voice. Otherwise, I just look like Marcel Marceau warmed over. Undead Crabstick, hi. Russ is from Augusta, Maine. All good, good. Thank you, ODE. Yep, so loud and clear. I'm going to wait for the stream to populate a little bit here before I get to the agenda, but I have got a jam-packed agenda for you of things to come, things to look for on my channel, news of the pen world, that kind of thing. And then we're going to take some questions, drink some tea, try to refrain from talking about politics. Yes, we're not going to talk about politics these days. And we're just going to have some fun today on the live stream. And then we'll talk about upcoming live streams and what to expect next month. Michael Reber, good morning from Thailand. And there's some tea from Copperplate. Thank you. I have got my tea here. This is a new tea mug I've got. It's both hot and cold. It keeps things cold and hot, depending on how you put them in. And I got this for Father's Day from my son. And that's good. That's PG tips right there. The only tea I drink. And I'm not a coffee person. I gave up coffee years ago. So save all your questions for me. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them here on the live stream. But I do have an agenda. How many people? We've got about 13 people right now. Let's go and take a look at the agenda for today. I never like to run a meeting without an agenda. Otherwise, there's no end in sight. And here is the agenda for July 2024. Of course, what's new? This is going to be fairly long because I have, even as of yesterday, added a bunch of stuff that I want to show you. I'm going to talk about a special guest that's going to be coming up towards the end of July. You all know this person that's going to be guesting on my channel, I hope. He hasn't agreed yet, but I will force him. And then we'll talk about your questions and look at the agenda for the next live stream, what the date might be in August. And I don't think it's going to be August 1st. And we're back. So I'm going to switch over to my desk camera here, and I'm going to show you some of the things to look forward to on my channel in the coming weeks and months. Depending on when I get to them all, because I've got a lot of stuff coming into the hopper here, and it's really quite difficult to get to them all. But this is in no particular order. Let's go over to my desk. This is my favorite pen right here, Pelikan M800, of course. And we're going to move that to the side, and I'm going to bring in a roll full of pens here. And I have to remember, I have to move my mic so that you can hear me when I'm over here. There we go. This is a pen roll, which I'll talk about Actually, it's a tool roll, which I'll talk about in a moment. And let's lay it out here and see what we have. And this is in no particular order, but I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought a Pelican Twist on Amazon. And I'd always wanted to give it a try. I love the swirl kind of motif on this as you turn it. It's very unusual looking. They're not that expensive. It is a pop top, and it has a kind of a rubberized triangular grip. And if you've been watching my channel, I'm not fond of triangular grips, but this isn't too bad. I'm actually growing. This pen is growing on me. So you'll see that review coming soon. The Pelican Twist. And then I've been talking to Gold Spot pens for the last while, and there's a particular pen that Tom is sending me, but not until probably the end of August. I asked for a Magna Carta, and they were getting low on stock, and they are restocking with the new model. Apparently it's been redesigned. This is not a Magna Carta. But I asked for one, and he's going to send me one of the new model. And in the meantime, he said, would you like to try this new Sailor? And this is the new Sailor Tuzu, and it has an adjustable triangular grip that you can pull this ring down and adjust where those triangular, well, it's actually got a curve on the bottom and two flats here, and you can move that around to adjust your grip. So an entry-level pen from Sailor. It's a cartridge converter. Cartridge pen, takes Sailor cartridges. And this one is in black. So I'm going to be taking a look at that Sailor Tuzu very, very soon. This review will probably come out next week. This is the Hongdian A9. And it is a cousin to the N10. No, I don't understand the model naming either from Hongdian, but it has that moire pattern to it, which is very, very interesting. Only this one, instead of being a piston, is a cartridge converter and has a plastic rather than metal section, and a big number 8 size steel nib and ebonite feed. And all this for like 25, 30 bucks, I think. Very, very interesting pen. You can see it's inked up. What would a pen channel be without inky fingers? So you'll be seeing this review of the A9 coming up probably in the next week. Also, I discovered on AliExpress, I think it was, that there was another pen from a pen company that I had reviewed like 3 years ago, only they have a piston filler. And this is a Natami. Yeah, Natami. You probably can't see that because this isn't auto-focusing for me. But this is a vac filler from Natami. It has no clip, but it has like aluminum hardware on it. Very interesting number 6 size nib and a nice vac filler. And I love vac fillers. And so I'm going to be reviewing this Natami. And what's it called? It's called something really odd. It's called a super something. It's on the nib. Hang on. Super Warship. So for all you Star Wars, Star Trek fans, you like warships. I don't think it looks anything like a warship. It looks more like a rocket ship. But look forward to that review of that vac filler. I'm going to skip across these pens here, and we're going to move over to this side. This was sent to me by viewer and pen fan Stephen Perez of Australia. You cannot get these apparently in the North American market. This is a Pilot Petite 1, and it is a very interesting pocket-sized inexpensive pen that has a cartridge, a small cartridge. It's not the regular Pilot cartridge, and it has this little device on it. I haven't broken the seal on it yet. And it pulls top and posts with a click and becomes a very interesting little pen. So I'm looking forward to trying this out and comparing it to my other Pilot pens. So thank you to Stephen for sending that to me. In my bag of pens video recently, I had this Schaefer snorkel pen as a possible restore. And I also purchased recently a Schaefer Imperial in town here. It's a cartridge converter Schaefer. And so I decided, well, I'm going to do 2 for 1. We're going to restore this Triumph style Imperial. This is an Imperial 2. This is an Imperial 6 with the inlaid diamond shaped nib rather than the Triumph tubular. And I ended up with a 50-50. One's dead and one's alive. So you'll see in another Pen Resurrection Sunday, you'll see me fail with this one. Unfortunately, I went through a long process with this before it failed. And then you'll see a success with this one. So those are some Pen Resurrection Sunday videos to look forward to. And then yesterday, just yesterday, I went out with some friends. We went out to breakfast in Bragg Creek, and we returned and came to a local antique shop to look around. And I've purchased pens from this local antique shop a few times, but it's always one here and one there. Well, all of a sudden there was a cabinet full of vintage fountain pens, and I just went nuts and bought almost all of them. So I'm going to go through these a little bit. One is an Esterbrook J in this beautiful root beer colored celluloid. It's a lever filler, and I got it for 18 bucks. The nib needs serious work. So something to keep me off the streets. And I got another Schaefer snorkel. Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. And this Schaefer snorkel is stuck. I don't know. The nib looks good, but I don't know whether I can get it unstuck. I haven't even looked at these yet, really, because I just got them yesterday. And in the same cabinet, I found a Parker 51, 23 bucks. I said, yeah, okay, I'll buy that. It's an aerometric, so it should be a fairly easy restore. The nib is in good shape. It has someone's name engraved on it, so I'm going to take that off. So you can look forward to that one. And then I found a treasure trove. After these 3 pens, I found this Schaefer Prelude, in gold. And it was $45. It's a snap cap. This is from the 1990s, the late 1990s. My apologies, this is not focusing. I'm going to move it down so you can see it better. There we go. And it has a steel nib, but it's a beautiful pen. It too is engraved with someone's name on the cap. And it says 98. So I would guess this pen is from 1998. But I've never had a Schaefer Prelude, so I'm going to see about restoring this. I don't know about taking engraving off of gold or not, whether it's possible. Maybe you guys will know whether that's possible or not. Probably is, but this is gold plate. So, and then the piece of resistance, pièce de résistance, this Parker 51 set, pen and pencil set in the original case. Yes. And I said, yeah, I'll buy that. And there it is in gray, dove gray. And this is a Vacuumatic with a lovely gold nib. No personalization on it. It is a vac. I haven't tried to take it apart yet. Just got it yesterday, but it's in beautiful, beautiful shape. It feels like it might actually have a bit of a sack in there as well. So I'm looking forward to restoring this pen. Gold-filled cap, made in Canada, no dings on the cap at all, and the pencil works flawlessly. And the unusual thing about this pen and pencil set is Parker stopped making the Parker Vacuumatic in 1948 in the United States. But England and Canada, and I think Australia, kept making the Vacuumatic years later. And this one dates from 1953, and it's a Vacuumatic, so it's unusual. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that is my upcoming, what's coming in my pen channel to date. And there are other things in the hopper as well. Moving my microphone, so I'm making noise. Pardon me, sorry. Let's go back here. And let's just catch up on some of your chatting here while I've been blathering. And I'll tell you about a couple of other things. The Lockby tool roll that I just showed you, that all those pens were in. And I've got something special coming from Coppertist Woo. But let's check on our conversation here. Good to see you all. We're up to 35 people. Hello, all of you out there in Penland. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me today. And Russell says Doug is getting all filled up before he goes on camera. All fueled up. Yeah, I need some more PG tips. Bear with. There we go. Hey, there's Willem. Good to see you, Willem. Thanks for coming. There's TJ Archivist. Hey, thanks for coming, TJ. You're always here, very supportive. Russell, Willem, long time no see. Autocorrect. Yep. Wendy Sue says, "Hi, pen people." And Russell's watching the live stream outside. Yeah, well, it is a gorgeous day here in Calgary, July 6th, and just beautiful, beautiful day. And here I am in my cold, dark basement talking to you. So that shows I'm taking one for the team. This is a beautiful day. We don't get many of them. We get maybe 5 or 6 nice days, and then we get snow. That's just Calgary weather. M says the Hongdian pen looks so interesting. It does, actually, and it actually writes very, very. I've been writing with it for a week or so now, and I've been working on the review that will probably go up next week, next Saturday maybe, and it's a very nice pen. The N10, which is the piston version of the same kind of moire aluminum, extruded aluminum pen from Hongdian, is a bit clunky for me, and I'm not sure why. It might be the balance, but this cartridge converter version of it is with the non-metal section. I think that's what's made the difference, is the plastic thick section on this pen. So that black thick section there, along with that large number 8 size nib, has made quite a bit of difference to my writing experience. I reviewed the N10 and gave it a pretty good review. It's a nice pen, nice piston filler, and nice pattern on it and everything. And the nib was okay, but this one is much superior. I'll write with this one, whereas I haven't been writing with the piston filler. And TJ says, I've just exhausted my first fill of my A9, most comfortable number 8 pen so far. I think, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think I just said that. Bill Pemberton says, did they do the time of flight? Yeah, that would be Natami. The time of flight. Where did I put that pen? It's around here somewhere. My wife has that pen. I took it back so I could do a comparison between the two Natami pens. And that time of flight pen, the faceted, clear plastic pen that looked very much like a Platinum 3776. It's a very, very nice pen. And Win continues to write with hers. Ted Smith says, I just received my A9 and I love it. I like it more than the N12. I agree. The N12 and the N10. TJ says, I have had a couple of petite ones, but that one looks more interesting. Cool feed system. I think the feed system on the petite one certainly looks the same as the other pilots. Like the, what's the name of it? You'll know. It's going right out of my head. Not the Prera. They all start with P's. I got one around here somewhere. Just a small version of that clear plastic one you can get in North America. I'll be interested to see how that cartridge works and whether you can get these cartridges. Because if they only sell the pen in Australia or in the Far East, might not be able to get these. And reading through, TJ says, looks like some excellent videos coming up. Yeah, I've got my hands full, and I want to have some summer too. So I'm trying to get a few things done here. So maybe I can stack some of my videos and go be at the beach while they're going up automatically. Copperplate 69 says, every pupil here has a pelican twist. That's in Germany, yes. I couldn't cope with the grip in long term, so I gave mine away to a friend's daughter. Yeah, I've been writing with it. It's got a medium nib on it, and it's very smooth and very comfortable. You can't really post it. It just becomes a really long stick. It's not heavy at all, but it just becomes a long, long stick. But I found it very comfortable. I haven't written with it for long periods of time, so I can imagine how it gets tedious after a while, especially when it forces your grip. But we shall see when I do the review. Am always enjoying your videos from South Korea. Hello there from South Korea. Pilot Varsity, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, the King's Pen, the Pilot Varsity. Yeah, I think it has the same feed as the Pilot Varsity. See, all you have to do is ask the pen hive mind out there, and the answer comes to you within milliseconds. Okay, so one more thing. I'm going to switch over to my computer here because I have to show you. How do I do this now? Here we go. And no, that's not it. This is it. This is what Coppertis Woo is going to be sending me in the next couple of weeks. It's a crab pen stand. Of course, they show that the crab will hold a pen, a knife, glasses, a phone, and it has movable eyes. I don't know. This is just going to creep me the hell out, I think, having this on my desk. But let me go back to my desk, and I will show you my other things from Coppertis Woo. You've seen this, you guys, if you've been watching. This is my rattlesnake pen holder. Just like that. I take a lot of photos of pens with this brass snake. It has a copper on the bottom right here, and its eyes are stones, like black stones. Very interesting. And the tail of the rattlesnake is silver, and it's very heavy. And then he sent me this, which is an iPhone stand. I don't tend to use it too much as an iPhone stand, but I use it as a really nice desk decor item. And it has silver on the bottom, and it has jewels, plastic jewels, as eyes. This cobra. Isn't that beautiful? Well, and now he's going to be sending me this crab over here that will hold my pens. So look forward to that coming up in the next month or so. He just told me this week that he was going to send me one, so I expect maybe it'll take a couple of weeks to get here. And there was one more thing I was going to show you. Yes. If you've been watching, you've been seeing that I've been doing a segment called Murray's Moments. Murray is our leader of our local pen club, and I call him the Grand Imperial Poobah. And every time I go to a pen club meeting, I come away with more pens than I came with, because you should try this, you should try that. Well, I have a pen case here with 3 pens. One I've already reviewed. Let's see. So this is the one I already reviewed. Put it down on the ground. This is the Mont Blanc 100th anniversary. It's a Mont Blanc 146 size pen in blue with this amazing swirly blue acrylic on the cap, not on the body, but this one has a gorgeous nib on it. And so I did the review of this one. You may have seen that. But I have 2 more pens from Murray that I'm going to review. And this one is an Iboya from Japan. And this one is called the Iboya Houga. That's the only way I can pronounce it. It's Houga. Houga. And it reminds me of a Ranga Model 3, Model 4. I can't remember. The one that has no seam. It's in ebonite, this beautiful green ebonite. And this has a magnifier here. Yes, I do. Yeah. The 14 karat gold number 6 size nib. Beautiful nib, and it writes beautifully. So I'm going to be reviewing that really soon as part of Murray's Moments video. And then there's this. Get set to have your mouths water. This is a pen that I would never, ever even think of buying. It is so bloody expensive. But this is a Montegrappa beauty book. It's in stacked celluloid and sterling silver. And it has this unique shape. It's almost a coffin shape. And a fan tail, like the Pen BBS 323. This little fish tail. That stacked celluloid is just delicious. Look at that in silver. And the section is silver. And you can imagine this pen is heavyish. The celluloid is light. This section is heavy. And it's got a very large, this would be a flexible nib right here in gold. You can see the cutouts on the side. This just flexes like a quill. So I've been writing with this, or trying to write with it. It takes a specific kind of skill to be able to write with a pen that with a nib that flexes like this, like a wet noodle. And it's a gushy pen as well. So trying to control it and trying to control the thickness of the pen and so forth. This is a pen that you'd want to learn how to do that, though. Just gorgeous. So look forward to that coming up. And I'll get back to my face again. Oh, there we are. So let's take a look. William says, I've just looked it up and see, yes, you have beaches in Calgary. Didn't know that. No saltwater beaches. No, there's no saltwater here. We're landlocked. But I do live we have a number of communities here in Calgary that are called lake communities. They're man-made lakes. And Midnapore, where I live, is one of them. And back in the 70s, the late 70s, they sort of dug a big hole and piled all the dirt over onto a mountain, sort of like a hill, and ran a fountain up through it like a waterfall that aerates the lake. And they stock it with fish, and there's beaches, and there's rowing, and there's kayaking, and there's fishing, and all kinds of tennis and activities and things like that. And it's a beautiful location. And so I'll be sitting on the beach in the next number of days. Willem says, LOL, then its eyes will literally follow you around the room. I hope not. I really, really hope not. I think they animate them in the picture here, but I think you can adjust where they look. So I'll have them looking away. Russell says, I'm dodging raindrops here. Sun, then rain, then sun, then rain. Yep, that was our 2 days ago. We had hot sun and cold, wet rain, and then hot sun, and then hail, and then, yeah, it looked like it had snowed in my backyard, and that was just 2 or 3 days ago. Willem says, okay, so Murray is also a first name. Murray is his first name. I'm not going to give you his last name because he wants to remain anonymous, semi-anonymous, because of his fountain pen collection. He doesn't want anybody crawling up his driveway and stealing his Montegrappa. I wouldn't want anybody grabbing my Montegrappa, I tell you. Copperplate says Montegrappa nibs have stunningly beautiful patterns. They do indeed. I bought a Mayank Chaparwal says, I bought a Wingsung 601 after watching your review. The nib was too bland, so I bent the nib myself as an adventure. That's really nice line variation. Well, that's the one thing about the 601. The 601 has a really mediocre nib on it, whether it's fine or extra fine. I think that's all they come in. So that's why I've always replaced a 601 with a Bobby Bent nib. They're only like 10 or 12 bucks or something like that. And they just pull out and put a new one in, and it writes really, really nicely with some minor line variation. Shanghai Knife Dude, hey, hello, how you doing? Majon T 136 just released. Awesome. I've not seen it. I'm waiting for is it the 136 or the 139? I can't remember. I'm waiting for the new version of that pen with the number 8 size nib, the piston filler, to come out, to be sent to me, actually. I've got an order in for one. So I should tell you another thing that's coming up. Later on in July, like in 2 weeks or something, I'll set it up this way. I got an email from my good friend Stephen Brown, SBRE Brown, and asking me if I would like to review some of the pens he's received from Applebaum. He and Joost Applebaum know each other personally. Stephen is from Amsterdam, and they've known each other for very many years. And since Stephen's now here in Calgary, not in Calgary, just north of Calgary, Joost sends him pens for review. And he doesn't get to keep them all. If he wants to keep one, he buys it from him, probably at reduced prices. But he sends it back. So he'll get a very expensive pen, review it, and then send it back. It used to go into a rotation. Joost would send one to Stephen. Stephen would send it on to Figboot, and Figboot would send it back to Amsterdam, or go the other way around, whatever. Well, Stephen has 3 or 4 pens that he has from Applebaum that have to go back. And he said, why don't you review them first, and then you can send them back to Joost. I said, hey, I'm all over that. I don't even know what they are, but he said, I'll send you these pens. And he was going to put them in the mail because this was last month, because he was off to Europe. And so I said, well, don't put these pens in the mail, and all the cost and the possible loss and all that kind of thing, getting crushed by Canada Post. I'll drive up and see you when you get back from Europe, and I'll pick them up then. And we'll have a good old chinwag about pens. And he said, oh, that's a great idea. I've got a few things I want to show you. So I'm going to take my camera and my tripod with me. And I've told Stephen that I'd be interested in doing sort of a joint video between him and myself, live from his, not live, recorded from his location. If he wants to, of course. If he doesn't want to, you'll just see one half of the conversation, just my half, and then I'll cut him out because I know how camera shy he is. But so sometime at the end of July, the beginning of August, you may see a really interesting video between Stephen Brown and myself. And I'll be going over some of the pens that he's sending back with me that I'm going to send on to Yoast after I've done the review. So that's something to look forward to. I'm really looking forward to it. Today is the 6th. I think I'm going to see him on Saturday the 20th, so that's 2 weeks. I'll be seeing him. TJ says a joint video would be good. I think so. I'm not sure how we'll structure it. He hasn't even agreed to it yet. I told him the idea. He flew off to Europe and hasn't responded. So we'll see whether he gets back or not. He might just stay there. So let's open it up now to questions that you might have, folks. Any questions that you have regarding anything pen related. I will speak about things that are not pen related, but I can't guarantee I won't get into a rant about it. And then my video might get taken down. You never know. I try not to talk politics, so please stay away from politics. That just gets me as red as my hat. And so I try to keep that away from my channel. But when we talk about pen politics, that's when I like to rant a little bit. I like to rant against some companies that aren't on the up and up, and some products that I don't think are so grand, that kind of thing. And all the modern things that are happening with the pen world. For example, Lamy turning Japanese and Pelican turning French. Did you know, as I'm waiting for your questions to come in, did you know that Schaefer has changed hands as well? I've sort of ignored Schaefer, other than vintage Schaefers, which I love, but I've ignored them because mostly they make or have made crappy pens. But I recently had a Schaefer Icon, which I really liked, and it was made in the Far East, but it had a really nice feel to it and a really nice quality build, and I've still got it, and I still use it now and then. It's sort of like a semi-hooded kind of a pen, and I thought, well, something's happening with Schaefer. But in the most recent issue of Pen World, here it is. This is Nikki's publication, and this is the issue that has the nominees for the 30th annual Pen World awards. I sent my ballot in just recently, but he has an article, Nikki does, in here about where are you? About Schaefer. If only these things had an index or a table of contents. Here we go. It's called, I don't know whether you can read this or not. It's called The White Dot Marks the Spot. And it talks about how the pen company Schaefer has been sold to a company called William Penn, which is out of India. Did you folks know this? I think I had heard something about this. But also they're being distributed by Kenro in the U.S. and here in North America. And he talks about all the different models and so forth that are available. But it looks like the owner from India is very interested in reviving the brand, not only the brand with the white dot, but also the quality of the Schaefer brand. So that's something to look forward to. So I'm thinking of going ahead and maybe asking Goldspot to send me one of these. Otherwise, I might have to buy it myself. Let's go to the computer here. This is a Schaefer 300. This one happens to be in chrome and gold, but they come in a number of different colors. I think Goldspot has one of these. Yeah, they have one of these. I might get Tom to send me one of these to give it a review, to give Schaefer, modern Schaefer, another try. Because quite frankly, I've had modern chafers other than the Icon, like the VFM, which I've really trashed. I mean, VFM stands for value for money, but I wouldn't give you a nickel for a VFM. That was 10 years ago. So we'll see whether the new VFM is any better than the old one. So let's catch up on your questions here. Willem says, is there a modern snorkel you could recommend? I saw an ad for a modern snorkel. I don't know of any other than what this ad was. I just saw this morning. It's in the classified ads of this magazine. There it is. It says fantasy snorkel. There it is. Fantasy snorkel pen is a demonstrator on your wish list. 2024 special crystal clear demonstrator with a number 5 nib. And there is the snorkel right there. $375. I'm not sure. That says the Tega Pen Company, made in the USA. www.fantasysnorkel.com. So if you're interested in a modern snorkel and have $375 US to spend, you get one of those and tell me whether they're worth it. And if you get one, maybe you can send it to me and I'll review it. That's the only one I've ever heard of. Why anybody would recreate the complexity of a snorkel pen is beyond me. I think Schaefer dumped it just for that reason. It's too many moving parts, too many seals and rings and things to wear out. And Bill Pemberton says, feelings about Leonardo Furore and Furore Grande on feel and balance. These pens are always within reach for me and always full of ink. This is the Grande on top, and this is the Furore Regular on the bottom. This is in Salt, and this is in Smeraldo. And these are fantastic pens. Everybody goes crazy over the Leonardo Momento Zero and the Momento Zero Grande and all the Magicos and all the others, and they are gorgeous, wonderful pens. But these cigar-shaped versions of Leonardo's are almost more comfortable. Look at that. That's Smeraldo acrylic. This is one that Salvatore Matrone gave to me to review, and I was just stunned by it. And I write with this at least once every 2 weeks or so. And it's always full of ink. And when I open it up after not using it for 2 weeks, it writes. It just writes. It's incredible. This is one of the early models of the Furore Grande, and the piston is glued in. So that's one of the things that I don't like about it. I can't service that piston. But the newer models you can. And this, in Salt, the Furore, that shape is just outstanding. And I think it's hard to, it's like choosing among your babies. I can't. But I do write with this one more often. I don't write with this one as often because I don't like to put ink in this too often because it stains because of the white. But I got this one. This is a regular Furore, but this is in Galaxy. Look at that. I don't know whether you can see it close up or not. Look at this. Look at that. It's amazing. And what a beautiful pen. I keep this full all the time. It's got a medium nib, smooth, beautiful, posts, balanced. One of the best pens in my collection. So I think that the Furore and the Furore Grande are hugely underrated or underappreciated. If they had more different colors and acrylics, I would have more of them than this. So I'm of two minds. If he makes different finishes, I'm out of pocket because I'll just have to buy them. I just love them. Yeah. So I think I told you how I feel about it. They're just excellent, excellent pens. Name Like Anybody Else says, I was on AliExpress and tossed a pen in the cart just before checkout. I love the pen. Have you ever heard of the Junlai 630? The Junlai is a different Anglicization, English version of the word wing sung. And where did I put my wing sung? It's over here. This also is one of my favorite pens in my collection. And you probably know that I don't own a Mont Blanc 149 because I have a Wing Sung 630. It's a piston filler. It's identical in size and dimension, weight, everything to a Mont Blanc 149. And it has a 14 karat gold number 8 size gold nib, which is stunning. Just a stunning, flexible. This one's a fine nib, so I don't write with it all that much. But when I do write with it, it is just glorious. I keep it inked all the time. So yeah, and that's a bargain. I think I paid $175 for that, something like that, a gold nib pen, and that's US. But my price here in Calgary for a 149 from Mont Blanc is $1,275 Canadian. So nope, not going to do it. I got this a few years back, 2 years ago, something like that. So I think they may have gone up in price. Watching Watches says, I'm smiling on the idea of someday getting an M800, but obviously want to be reasonably sure it would be comfortable for me. Which clone could I get in order to test drive the ergonomics? I assume you're meaning a Pelican M800. And so what you need to get is this. This is an AdMock M800. And it is almost identical, except for its posting ability, to the Pelican M800. The nib is nowhere like it. There's nothing like a Pelican nib. Nothing on the planet like a Pelican nib. But you get the idea of the balance and the feel of a Pelican M800 with the AdMock. They're very, very similar. So if you find the AdMock M800 for like, what are they, $30? If you find that uncomfortable, then you won't like the M800 from Pelican. But I doubt that will happen. I doubt it. The Pelican M800, in case you don't know, is the finest pen in my collection. My favorite. And there have been pens that have come close, but nothing has knocked this pen off the top of my list since I got it for my birthday 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I can't remember. Tempus fugit. And Mr. Best Beatles Fan 1 says, to Willem, John Bedard puts Schaefer nibs and snorkel mechanisms into modern acrylics. Interesting. William Catalano. Hey, Will. I have the Positano Furore Grande, and it reminds me of an old jade celluloid except blue. And I have the bronze regular Furore. Yeah, they're beautiful pens. And again, if he came out with more acrylics, more different colors, my pocketbook would drain instantly. Bill Pemberton says, could you drop a reference to the MB clone in the notes? So the Wingsung 630 you're talking about? Let's see. Wing Sung Jun Lai 630. Search on AliExpress. There. Yeah, it's the Wing Sung or Jun Lai 630. I've seen it listed as both Wing Sung or Jun Lai. And there's a whole business about them changing their names and all that kind of stuff happening. I can't keep track of the model numbers, let alone the company changing names. They're all owned by Hero anyway. You're welcome. Okay. Jimmy Barrett wants to know, would you consider a 149 from the used market? I've got a number of search flags that come up on eBay, and I check it every day. So I search for Parker Vacuumatics all the time. I search for Schaefer snorkels. I also search for Mont Blanc 149. And then it shows you every new listing that comes up. And I look and I see if there's anything used that is maybe in the $400 range. If there was a $400 MB 149 in good shape, I'd consider it. But again, I've got this, and I've had this, and I did a review of this pen and put it right next to a Mont Blanc 149 that Jack Hernandez put together for me. He has quite a few of them, and he put this one together for me from parts. This barrel, that cap, this nib, that kind of thing. And the Mont Blanc was incredible, but in a blind taste test, I could not tell the difference between this pen and the one he put together for me. So why would I spend $400 for a Mont Blanc? If it had an unusual nib, a broad or something like a cursive italic, I reviewed the calligraphy Mont Blanc, and it is incredible. Doesn't belong to me, of course, but it was, boy, what an interesting nib. But those are pricey. Russell, while I was offline, my new air conditioner arrived. Well, that's good. Weren't you outside? Is that why you were outside? Because your air conditioner is broken? Pam Meyer says, try an M1000. I've reviewed, you might be talking to other chatters, Pam, but I have reviewed the M1000, and the M1000 Streisman, and I know I'm saying that wrong, sorry, Copperplate, Streisman, whatever you pronounce it, was sort of on my Grail list. The Pelican M800 was my Grail pen. But then when I got that, I went, well, I think I need an M1000. And it's almost too big. It's like the difference between a Momento Zero and a Momento Zero Grande. For my medium-sized hand, the Grande almost is too big. And the nib is incredible. They're very, very different between the M800 Pelican and the M1000 Pelican. The nibs are very, very different. Very soft on the M1000. Russell Bickford is now waiting for my July custom-made pen. Should be delivered today. What is that you had custom-made, and who custom-made it for you? TJ wants to know, would you be interested in restoring a Pelican Ibis? Happy to send it to you. I don't know that pen, but I would be fascinated by it, yes. Send me an email, inkquiringminds@gmail.com, please. Always happy to hear from you, TJ. Mayank says, is Paley also wing sung? I can't remember. No, I don't think so. There's wing sung and then there's wing sung. I've said this before. There's Wing Sung, which makes the 3000 series, cheap student pens. And then there's Wing Sung that makes the 600 series, the more expensive, the more quality made pens. They're two different companies in the same name, and they're both owned by Hero. I think Paley, or however you pronounce it, is the Wingsung 3000 company. I might be wrong about that, but that's my thinking on that. Willem says the strange thing is that AliExpress literally translates Wingsung into Dutch in the app. Cool. Bill Pemberton says an MB149 with a split feed is nice. I think I've tried one of those, maybe at a pen group meeting. Russell said, did you see that Mackenzie Pens got their patent approved for the diamond cast? I did not see that. Where did you see that? On the interwebs, no doubt. Pam says, Stresemann is how you pronounce it. Stresemann. 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 I'll just stop now. Willem says, Stresemann. I don't know. Copperplate says, another cup of tea. Stresemann. 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 Tea. Bill says, hamburger. Hamburger. I would like to buy the hamburger. Yeah, that's about it. I can't get my tongue around that German pronunciation. And Russell says, upon a whim, Woodworks. It's made using a red diamond cast blank. Very, very cool. Al says, what is the best method of filling fountain pen piston vacuum converter? I don't think there's any best. I think it's a taste thing, and whether how you're going to use the pen. If you're changing inks all the time, I would say converter is the best, because you get to be able to change your inks more often, and they're easier to clean, and you can use bottled inks. But for me, even for traveling, I like to have a pen with a lot of ink in it. So I think my favorite is the vacuum filler. I love my Pen BBS 456s, and I love some of the new vacuum fillers that have come out as well. I'm really interested in this new Natami. It has no clip on it, but that's a very interesting looking pen. It has shades of Conductor bulk filler in it, but it's a vac filler. The Wingsung 699 is also a lovely vac filler. I have not got a Pilot 823, but I'm thinking of getting one now that they have the clear model available. So I'd say, yeah, for me, my personal taste would be the vacuum filler, because of the shutoff valve, and for wanting to change inks a lot, the converter is the thing. Oscar Medina. Hey, Oscar, my friend. Good to see you. Sup? Mayank says, I like the added weight of the larger ink volume in internal filling pens. Yes. This is my recent favorite pen. This is my first ever Edison. It's a Collier in this beautiful finish they call antique marble. I call Amber as a cat. And I took the converter out, and it's got 4 milliliters of ink in it. And this will last me all summer. I'll probably continue to refill it. The one thing about eyedroppers is you get halfway down like this, and the weight and the heat of your hand will heat that air up in there, and it'll start burping on you. So when it starts burping on me, I fill it back up again. So this pen will never run out of ancient copper. And it has the stub nib on it, which is just glorious. Beautiful pen. Large ink supply. And it adds that extra kind of solid feel in your hand as well. So I agree. I agree with you, Mayank. Willem Catalano says, my favorite is Piston, followed closely by my Viscontis with a vac filler. Yep. Which Viscontis do you like? Is it the Homo sapiens that you're appreciating from Visconti? ODE says, for traveling, I like Pilot cartridge pens with Pilot cartridges that I fill with ink and reseal, using a little plastic disc inside the cartridge. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Did you know, I'm sure you know, because you're a pen reviewer, ODE. I watch you all the time. But Pilot has Iroshizuku inks in cartridge form now. So I've got a little box of Iroshizuku Konpeki for my Pilot cartridge pens, like my favorite Pilot, the E95S. I was just writing with this the other day. I hadn't written with this pen because I've been so busy with other pens for like almost a month. And it has a Pilot Iroshizuku cartridge in it, about half full, and it sits horizontally. So I opened it up, fully expecting to have to let it run, and I went, oh, look at that. And it writes. First time, every time. Beautiful, beautiful pen. Can't recommend it highly enough. I got a lot of pens on my desk now. They're all over the place. Okay. So let's look at our agenda here. We're coming up on an hour. And we talked about what was new. My special guest in July, Mr. SBRE Brown. I will be at his place, and I will come away with some extra pens. We looked at some of your questions. Let's look at what's next. Let's just pull up my calendar here quickly, and we'll see what's happening for August. So the next Inkquiring Minds live stream, you guys, will be August 3rd, Saturday, August 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And we will go for about an hour or so. We'll chat. If you guys have any questions for me that I can't or don't answer for you here on the live stream, please email me at inkquiringminds@gmail.com. Then I will read your question at the next live stream and try to answer it when I look at my Dog's Mailbag. Dog's Mailbag. Oh, I also had another little video thing here too. When I was talking about going and seeing Stephen. He lives about an hour north of me. And so I'm going to drive up and see him. And I thought, well, what should we call that confab of Inkquiring Minds and Stephen Brown? It's sort of like...
Confer, converse, and otherwise hobnob with my brother wizards.
Getting a balloon and get the wizards together. What questions would you want me to ask Stephen when I see him in a couple of weeks? Are there specific things that you'd like to know or you'd like to hear us discuss? Any topics you would like to have us discuss together when we get together in a couple of weeks? Please let me know either here right now or send me an email and let me know what you want Stephen and I to talk about. And no, I'm not going to bow down and genuflect and say, yeah, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Well, there's a good video cutaway. See what I've missed. ODE says, I didn't try the new cartridges, but it was a great move from them. No kidding. The big drawback of using a Pilot cartridge pen is the ink is so ordinary. And that's the problem with cartridges as far as I'm concerned. There are some Faber-Castell has a really great array of standard international cartridges in all kinds of different colors. But if you get regular cartridges from Schaefer or Pilot or Parker or whatever it is, they are just ordinary. And I love Iroshizuku inks. So the idea of getting your cartridge pen with your favorite Iroshizuku, like a Yamabudo or something like that, is terrific. And they're a little bit more expensive, but you don't mind when you get Konpeki in your cartridge. I know, I love Konpeki. William Catalano says, for work, I take my Pelican Celebrity 580, which is a snap cap 14 karat gold medium nib that has some stubbiness to it. Yeah, it all depends on your uses. If you're going to take something into the field, I do most of my writing here at my desk, upstairs, outside a little bit, that kind of thing. But when I go to the lake or I go somewhere and I take a pen with me, I'll generally take my Wing Sung 601 flighter with me because I know I can drop it on the concrete and it will continue to work. And I can always get another one. And William says it's a converter pen as well. Bill Pemberton said, I see some Wing Sung 630 varying in price from $180 to $32. Yeah, the price range from $32 to $180 is they have the 630 in a steel nib. And usually I say, well, the steel and the gold doesn't really make that much difference. You're paying a couple $100 more many times with a Leonardo, something like that. You get the gold nib. It doesn't make a lot of difference in terms of the writing. And this is something that I've talked about previously. People ask, why would you have a gold nib over a steel nib? There's not that much difference in the writing experience. The tip on the page is still some form of iridium alloy, a very hard metal. You're not getting gold on the page. The difference is in the flexibility of gold, but it's not just gold. A gold nib isn't just flexible for its own because it's gold. Platinum, for example. Platinum 18 karat gold nib I've got a Platinum President, and it's stiff. It's not flexible at all. 18 karat gold. It has to do with the architecture of the nib. So the curvature, the arch, the length of the nib, now all those kinds of geometries and the thickness of the metal as well have a lot to do with the flexibility of the nib, not so much the gold or steel. That being said, the main reason that you'd want to have a gold nib, in my mind, is longevity. Gold does not corrode in the same way that steel does. So your steel nibbed pen from Leonardo, from any other big expensive brand, is not going to last as long when it's in contact with corrosive inks than gold. So you can use gold for 100 years and it will tarnish, it will turn black, but you spend 5 minutes polishing it up and it looks brand new again. The steel, not so much. So that's the big reason you're going to go for a gold nib. So if you want a Wing Sung 630 and you want it to last forever, almost, and I would think this pen will last for a long, long time, get the gold nib. And in this case, the Wing Sung 630 gold nib is much more flexible than their steel version, just to do with how it's built in terms of architecture. This one's very flexible. So there's my rant about gold versus steel. Willem says, you missed a beat not calling it your mail sack. Yeah. Don't want my videos taken down. Thank you. Oscar Medina says, Stephen is not worthy. Well, I'll tell him that. I'll tell him you said that. Russell wants to know how Winnie's book is selling. It's doing very well. She's on all the major platforms. She just got into Barnes & Noble in the United States, and we are planning a trip in September to Ontario to do a book launch in her hometown where much of the book takes place, in the Welland Historical Society, which was the Welland Library when Wynne was growing up. And so we'll be there in mid-September, I think, doing a reading and a live book signing and all that kind of thing in her hometown. So we're looking forward to that. We had the live reading here and the book launch here in Calgary. She sold about 25 books at that. Over the last month or so since then, we've sold almost the rest of the books that we had purchased to sell. But the book is still available in physical form from www.frisianpress.com. I'll put that in here. www.frisianpress. There we go. And you can get electronic copies or ebook versions at Amazon and Google Books and all of the rest of the electronic sellers. So thank you very much for that question. It's doing very well. ODE says, I would like to hear your thoughts about the way you approach pen nibs. Excuse me, both of you adjust nibs to your own taste, but you often change nibs on your pens and he doesn't. I think that's interesting. I change nibs on my pens because I want to use them. And I think he buys pens that have the nibs that he wants. I'm just guessing. But he has some pretty incredible pens in his personal collection. And I don't think his personal collection is as large as you would guess it is. He divests himself of a lot of pens. And he's pared his working pens, the pens he likes to write with personally, down to just maybe a dozen or something like that. I'm just guessing. But I think that's what the difference is. I'll buy a pen because I like it, like a Moonman M800. And I like to use this, but I don't like Moonman nibs. And so I put a Leonardo nib on it. And this one happens to have a Leonardo stub on it. So it becomes my poor man's Leonardo. Whereas I think Stephen would probably be able to get a Leonardo with a stub. Right? William Catalano says, I often think about putting a gold nib in my furores, but like you said, it's not worth the extra price just to say you have it. I have a 14 karat gold Jovo, and it's not much different than the steel. Well, that's the way the Leonardos used to come, is with a Jovo nib, and then now they're making them in-house, and they're La Fenice nibs, which are very nice as well. I've got a couple of those. But again, it's longevity. If you want your furore to last forever, and you're going to be using it constantly with different kinds of inks, especially if you're using Iroshizuku inks, they will corrode that steel over a 10-year span more than the gold. So it depends. For me, it depends on longevity. The Mr. Christie says, hi, Doug. Hey, Mr. Christie, you make wonderful cookies. William Catalano says, congratulations on Winnie's book. Thank you so much on behalf of Winnie. It's been a long, she really enjoyed the writing process, which was about a year during the pandemic. But the publication and marketing and production and promotion and all of that, not so much. All the forms you have to fill out, all the things about copyright you have to go through, it is daunting. So not easy to publish a book these days. Leon Onichik, I can't pronounce your last name, Leon, sorry. I'm wondering about pen storage. Do you recommend any affordable options? Interesting you say that, as he takes a sip of PG Tips. Because I did not mention, to clean up my desk if I'm going to show it. Hold on. Just moving crap around. Talk amongst yourselves as I move pens. Whoa. What a mess. Should see my desk. Here we go. I didn't mention that this, let's get a little higher here. There we go. This is my Lockbee tool roll. And Lockbee sent me this just a couple weeks ago, and they want me to review it. And so I've been using it for a couple of weeks for different things. They asked me what product I'd like to get. And I decided on this tool roll rather than on a pen roll because this has much more varied purposes. It has this zippered bag over here to put cables and power chargers and things like that. It has different size elastics for taking different kinds of tools. So if you're into jewelry making or something, all kinds of different cutting tools and screwdrivers and things, different thicknesses, this would be great for that. It also has these pockets right here. I've got a notebook in there. There's another pocket there. And the whole thing rolls together with an adjustable belt that you just hook in like that and give it a tug and you're ready to go. So I've been using it for the last 2 weeks to carry a whole bunch of things that I'm reviewing, and I go to the lake with it with my laptop and I pull out different products and write about them and things like that. So I've been experimenting with that. Lockbee has pen rolls as well that are just for pen slots, and they don't have the other compartments that this does. So go to lockbee.com and see what their different rolls are like. This is like a heavy canvas, and it's double stitched and just very heavy duty. In terms of individual pen storage, I have, where did it go? Yeah, putting things away. I have this. This was sent to me by pen friend Joel 5 years ago when I first started doing reviews. He said, you need to have one of these. And this is a magnetic clasp hard case with a velvet lining from Italian Pens. And that's for 3 pens. I really like that. And recently, I picked this up on Amazon. And this is, I will put the link to this in the description once this goes up for review, for reviewing. It's an Amazon store that is run by the people from, I'm going to forget the name. But it's the Amazon front end for Moonman, basically, Majon. And this is a 3-pen case, zippered case, and it's leather. I thought it was going to be fake leather when I ordered it because it was like $25. And the inside is like suede, pigskin suede. This is pigskin. And it's got place for 3 pens, and I keep my best 3 pens in this little case. My M800, my M600, it's a vintage pen, beautiful pen, and my favorite Parker Vacuumatic Azure Blue that I custom ground. So those 3 pens get this place of honor in this pen case. And then, to get me on the topic of pen storage, I'll talk forever. You get this kind of a thing. This is a 48 pouch, that I got on AliExpress. I might have gotten on Etsy. This has my pen BBS collection in it. And I got 2 more of these. And this is where I store most of my pens. And they come in that 48 version and a little bit more convenient for walking around. I take this to pen club meetings. And this is a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is a 20 pen case that is easier to cart around. And the case is called Keiko. I don't believe they're related to the pen company, but that's a nice case. So those are the kinds of things I use for storage. Okay, where's my mouse? It's gone. There's my face. And let's catch up here. We're getting close to the end. It's now, for me, 12:21. I hope that answered your question, Leon. Willem says PG nibs. PG tips. The best. Russell says, I have a distant cousin that is retiring from teaching this month. Come September, he and his partner are moving to Italy for their retirement years. Maybe I can get him to buy some Italian pens direct. That's not a bad idea. I only have one. This is a Delta. This is the new Delta. This is a Delta Dolce Vita 2. And Nino Marino is the head of Delta, was the co-founder of Delta Pens back in the 70s, I guess, 80s, early 80s, and is now owns the Delta brand. But he's also Mayora and Nettuno. So, and he's from Milan. So if you ever get a chance to try any of those 3 brands, the new Deltas, the Mayoras, which are beautiful pens, and the Nettuno goes into the more classic stylings of the early Nettuno. Nettuno is from Italy in like the 1910s started. And so he does classic stylings with that brand. So take a look for those brands if you can get them from Italy. I have a lot more Leonardo's because they're just a little bit more accessible for me. But I'd really love to get a Nettuno. Maybe I'll talk to my friend Nino and see whether he'll send me a Nettuno or a Mayora. Willem Catalano says, my 3 pen cases and my single, I have Galen leather. Yeah, that's another great brand. I've seen other people's Galen leather when I was at pen clubs and things like that, because people always bring their multiple pens in these beautiful pen cases. And at the last Pelican Hub we had, they gave away a Galen leather multiple pen case, which was just gorgeous. They're made in Turkey, I believe, Galen leathers. Al wants to know top 5 piston filler fountain pens. Boy, that's a tough one. I would say in terms of quality, you'd have to say that the Pelican piston is probably the best in the world. They invented it. It's their mechanism. That mechanism has gone public these last 50 years or whatever. And so everybody else copies it. So whenever you see most piston mechanisms copy the Pelican style. Mont Blanc, of course, has an excellent quality piston, the modern ones. And Leonardo, for me, I would say 1, 2, 3 would be Pelican, Mont Blanc, Leonardo. I haven't had a piston from Pilot, but I guess that their pistons are probably pretty good too. Do they even have a piston? I'm not sure. That's as far as my thinking goes. That I would say, yeah, Mont Blanc, Pelican, Mont Blanc, and then Leonardo for me. Copperplate 69 says the Keiko cases are very good. I have several. Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a smaller one. Here's another one. 5. These Keiko cases. I didn't show you this. You can get these on Amazon as well. This is a leather, like an oxblood kind of leather magnetic case that has this rigid, whoops, get it on camera, Doug, rigid lined section that pulls out. It's like a felt on inside here. And I use this to store my vintage pens. These are the pens that I'm working on currently. Parker 51, vac, and a vac. I think this is the next vac that I'm going to restore from Parker. This is a silver pearl in a debutante size. Small pen. In pretty good shape. And when I restore this, I think I have a buyer for this. I'm looking at someone who's here. I think I have a buyer for that pen once I restore it. Willem says, just checked Amazon. The pigskin case is indeed from Erofa, E-R-O-F-A store. Mark Volvic says yes to Turkey. Yes, Galen leathers are in Turkey. Mark also wants to know, how are the modern Delta pens as far as fragility, robustness? Well, this Delta, yeah, it sits on my desk all the time and is always full of ink, and I have had no issues with it. It's been to pen shows. It's been written with by many different people, and I've cleaned it a few times, the piston, taken it apart, and it's just the best. I have no issues with this pen, 100%. This was a gift from Nino Marino himself, and I treasure that pen. ODE, I have a Vacuumatic in pearl, gorgeous, double-jeweled, big size, but I guess I'm too afraid to restore it. Send it to me, I'll restore it for you. And I'll keep it for a year or so. What color is it, ODE? He says pearl, but what color pearl? The double jewels are nice. Usually the double jewel ones are the earlier ones, and they're the ones that either have the lockdown or the speedline vac-fill knobs on them. Russell Bickford says there is a U.S. pen seller that is carrying some of the Galen leather products. Yeah, who is that? Is that Van S that's carrying them? Do a quick search, Doug, and you'll find out. Galen leather pen case. Well, they're being carried by Bleskett here in Canada. Galen leather. Wonder Pens here in Canada sells them. Amazon, Etsy. Shopping. Fascinating live stream. You get to watch me surf the web to buy stuff. This is all Etsy, Amazon, Wonder Pens, Bleskett, Applebaum. So I'm not sure about a retailer in the U.S., but certainly Applebaum carries them as well. So good luck to you. I might have to get one to review because I hear such good things about them. ODE says, it is like yours. It looks like the Montegrappa you showed earlier. So it's a silver pearl, which is this one I just had out. So it's this pen with the silver pearl. It looks very similar to the Montegrappa. Montegrappa is gray rather than gray and silver pearl rather than black and silver. So the Parker Vacuumatic is black and silver. The Montegrappa is gray and silver. That's gorgeous, isn't it? And these little debutantes, they end up being like 4 3/4 inches when they're capped. They're very much thinner than the regular size. And when they post, and they have a tiny little section. So women tend to like these, people with smaller hands. And this one is really very, very, find my flashlight, very transparent. This is without any, let's see if I can do this without blinding myself. How am I going to do that? That's without any restoration whatsoever. Look at that transparency in there. Beautiful. So that is probably next on my repair agenda, that beautiful debutante in silver pearl. Looking forward to that. Okay, we're at 12:30 for me, and I have to go and catch some sun before I turn into prison pallor here in my basement on a beautiful sunny day. But I very much appreciate all of you for being here. Let's just take a look at where we are. We've got 39 people here so far, and I really appreciate all of you for coming. I hope you'll come again next live stream. That will be Saturday, August the 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I can never figure out standard or daylight, but it's whatever the current time is in Los Angeles, 10 a.m. on Saturday, August 3rd. You'll see me again. Please send your questions and comments to inquiringminds@gmail.com, and I will make them part of my August live stream and try to answer your questions. And we'll have a whole bunch of new things to look forward to for the month of August. Again, it's lovely to see all of you, and it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him as well. Thank you all for being here. I'll leave the chat open for a while so you can all answer each other's questions and say goodbye to each other. But I really appreciate your being here. Bye-bye.